Former prosecutor Jeremy Saland and executive director of the National Security Institute at George Washington University Law School. Jamil Jaffer, good morning to you both. Thank you both for being here. Jeremy, let me just begin with you. Let's dissect the charges here. Willful retention of defense information that's under the Espionage Act. We understand these are all we haven't seen the indictment, by the way. These are all from Trump's attorneys. Obstruction, false statements, notably conspiracy, which means the Department of Justice believes that there was someone else involved here, that the former president coordinated to commit a crime with someone else. Right. What's striking to you?
Unfortunately, it's not striking to me. This is something that we saw coming and we expected, and we learned more. The allegation in terms of conspiracy, we'll use a general term that he was in cahoots with somebody, meaning that they shared that same intent to take that crime and make this crime happen. And here, one of the big issues, as we know, is that he's alleged to have these documents that he was supposed to return, he should not have had, and that they were detrimental to the protection or defense of the United States or to aid another country, some of which he made reference to on a recording. So, unfortunately, none of this is overly shocking, though, as you just noted, we haven't seen the indictment yet, so that's yet to be seen.
Jamil, given your experience both in a former White House, in the National Security Division of the Justice Department, when you look through what we know about the charges so far, what stands out to you and what do you think poses the most risk for the former president?
Well, you know, I think the biggest challenge here, Phil, is that the president has essentially admitted to having had these classified documents in his possession. We know that there were over 100 documents that the Justice Department retrieved after the president was subpoenaed for those documents. So the real challenge the president faces is, you know, what's the explanation? He said at times he can declassify documents just by thinking about them. That's not obviously true. You cannot do that. But the real risk for the president here is it's not just the willful retention of classified documents. It's also these questions of obstruction. Did they move the boxes around? Did he engage in an overt act and an agreement with somebody to not allow this investigation to go forward, as he may have with some of his aides? This is a politically fraught investigation, both for the president and the Justice Department, because they're doing it in the middle of an election cycle where the president of the United States, whose Justice Department is bringing the charges, is, of course, running for office as well.
We use the word classification a lot and classified documents a lot, which is important here, but that's actually not the word under the law. When you look at the Espionage Act, it's about national defense information here and the fact and willful retention of it. Can you speak to, because the Espionage Act is old, it's from 1917, but can you speak to how that relates specifically here to what these charges say the president did?
Well, it says that he had these confidential documents, these materials. There was boxes of them initially, and that the National Archives said we're missing these documents, and they go directly to, for example, this issue of Iran, although I believe that document is nowhere to be found, but that whatever he was in possession of was classified or top secret, use that term, because it could really adversely affect our country. We don't know what all those are. We may never know what all of them were. So that's what it's based in. And I would add that this is not unique to the president or former president, meaning lesser people, lesser offenses have been charged for military contractors, for example, who have seen significant time. And our country takes those documents seriously if they fall in the wrong hands or they're used to benefit himself.
Just quickly, Jamil, if the president is found guilty on all, or if he's convicted of all or any of these charges, would he serve time in jail?
You know, there's certainly a possibility. I mean, most people who are convicted of charges like this have to serve some amount of time in jail, so it's very likely he would. Of course, the question is, can he run for office if he's in jail? There's an open debate going on about that in the media and on Twitter right now.
I mean, how wild is that? I mean, there's just no that's
no
that's
playbook,
an open debate,
right? As you were saying earlier.
Yeah, no, that's the reality we're in right now. We're going to ask both of you guys to stick around. We have a lot more to get into. Please stay with us.